And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Okay, up first, we've got a blizzard warning out here for the Arctic coast through Thursday, and a portion of the north slope here for east to northeast winds, 40 to 60 miles per hour in gusts, creating visibilities less than a quarter mile at times, or even whiteout conditions through these areas. And a high wind warning out for the north central interior. Looks like the Koyukuk Valley there for winds gusting over 60 miles an hour. And then winter weather advisories here in the orange shaded areas all the way down to the Yukon Delta coast, St. Lawrence Island, Bering Strait coast areas there for gusty winds, snow, and blowing snow. And moving to the southwest here, we've got high wind warning out for Bristol Bay for wind gusting to 70 miles per hour tonight, and a blizzard warning out for the Kuskokwim Delta and Nunivak Island for winds, again, 40 to 60 miles an hour with winds gusting to 60 miles per hour with snow and blowing snow, creating very low visibilities in that area. Satellite imagery showing a low pressure area that tracked northwestward here and then fell to pieces as it made landfall along the western North Gulf Coast, Prince William Sound today. Brought a little bit of rain and snow into Portage there, about 0.2 of an inch worth today. So not a big impact, but as I crossed Middleton Island, they had winds gusting to 73 miles per hour early on there. Otherwise, not too bad here over the southeast coast. Few areas of light showers there with mostly cloudy skies. Thick cirrus, mid and high level clouds here streaming off to the northwest. Then the intense storm here south of the eastern Aleutian areas, bringing the strong winds to that area up into Bristol Bay and the Alaska Peninsula, or the strongest winds to this area. It is windy just about everywhere in Alaska today, but the strongest winds here in the eastern Aleutians spreading into the Alaska Peninsula north of the Pribilof Islands with winds of 40 to 60 miles an hour all the way up to the northwest coast, and then the strong winds on the Arctic coast as well. Putting this into motion again, you can see this low pressure area just fizzles as it hits the coast, while this front pushes northward there, bringing strong winds, as I mentioned on the chart here, at about midday. The front roughly in this position, now a little farther to the north as satellite imagery showed. But we had peak wind gusts of, 91 miles per hour at Nikolsky there in the eastern Aleutians, while 74 mile per hour wind gusts occurred at Unalaska. And so far, Cold Bay's had 68 mile per hour wind gusts with anywhere from 50 to 55 miles an hour over the Pribilof Islands. Windy conditions here across Bristol Bay, especially along the coast. That'll continue to increase tonight with a high wind warning there. Otherwise, generally dry here over the interior, again with a lot of mid and high level clouds in the west there, and blowing snow along much of the Arctic coast. Weak trough here brought, again, some light precipitation up to the North Gulf Coast. Again, 73 miles an hour earlier today at Middleton Island, while Cordova had 46 miles an hour. And not much going on over the Panhandle. Just a few isolated showers, winds on the light side there. And this low center will track mostly eastward tonight, and instead of pulling northwestward, that's going to stay down to the south there, but there is a weak trough here along the north coast of the southeast coast, keeping a chance of showers or areas of light rain, precipitation over the Panhandle tonight with light winds. You can see quite a gradient here across all of interior Alaska, and that's going to be quite windy, a little bit lighter up here over the northwest part of the state. And this front, periods of rain, or a solid rain here into Kodiak, Alaska tonight. Had about a quarter of an inch here today there, and also back at around Dutch Harbor at about a quarter of an inch of precipitation there. But tonight you'll see snow here, Yukon Delta, snow, blowing snow with the blizzard warning over the Kuskokwim Delta. More of a wind condition and blowing snow for the Kuskokwim Delta there. And a lot of snow showers back to the west here. Rain and snow showers, Adak and Atka, turning to snow in the colder air back over the western southwest Bering Sea areas, but staying dry here for much of interior Alaska all the way up to the Arctic coast. And that holds through tomorrow as well. Better upslope type snows developing on the eastern slopes of the western Alaska range. Periods of rain or snow again, probably rain Kodiak Island, and rain or snow here for the southern Kenai Peninsula with snow and rain chances into the Prince William Sound area as well, but really not making much progress past the coast range there, so dry over the Copper River Basin. Quite windy conditions here on these charts where the lines are closest together. That's where the wind speeds are the strongest. You can see quite a gradient up here over the, say, Delta Junction area and the Copper River Basin, all the way up to the eastern Arctic coast. Less of a gradient here over the western Brooks Range in the Kotzebue area. So you should have lighter winds there tomorrow along the northwest coast, Point Hope, Cape Lisburne area. Very windy conditions over the Bering Sea here, again with the coldest air staying out to the west. It's only going to mostly rain here for the eastern and central eastern Aleutians up to the Alaska Peninsula. New low develops in this position here, moves up to the southern or southwest Gulf of Alaska by tomorrow afternoon. This system down here just kicks off to the east and dissipates. As this front approaches the southeast coast, look for an increase in the winds and precipitation there, and periods of rain for the North Gulf Coast, snow in the Coast Range. And again, for Thursday, this front lifts northward and not much precipitation with it. It really weakens here over the southern Alaska area, hanging together a little bit better here off the southeast coast. So some periods of rain and snow mix there with not too bad on the winds. And this low pulling northward slowly weakening up to 963 millibars as it gets into the southeast Bering Sea on Thursday afternoon from the 937 millibars it was this afternoon. And then this low center here will mostly just take off to the northeast, heading toward Dixon Entrance and the Queen Charlotte Islands sometime during the weekend. And moving on to lows for tonight. Well below zero here over the northeast interior, anywhere from 15 to 25 below up to the Arctic coast. Single numbers over the northern Kuskokwim Valley, warming into the 30s here, mid-30s for Bristol Bay, Kodiak Island, southern Kenai Peninsula, Homer, Seldovia, Port Mola, and those areas. Right around 20 for Anchorage, teens for the Susitna Valley, teens below zero in the Copper River Basin, and upper 20s, northern Panhandle, upper 30s to the south, out in the Aleutians, lows in the 30s, including the Pribilofs, mid-teens for St. Lawrence Island, followed by highs, quite mild here, or relatively mild comparatively for the compared to the interior areas, upper 30s to near 40 for the Alaska Peninsula, Bristol Bay, and 30s for the remainder of the Bering Sea, near 40 for Kodiak Island and Homer, and upper 20s to mid-30s for the Kenai Peninsula, in the 20s for the Susitna-Manuska Valley, edging above zero in the Copper River Basin, a little milder here over the interior, but still staying below zero over toward the border and up into the Brooks Range and the eastern Arctic coast, and mid-teens for St. Lawrence Island, and for the southeast coast, mid-30s to mid-40s to the south. And the lows in the 30s for the southeast coast, 20s here, south central Alaska, lower 30s for the North Gulf Coast to Kodiak Island, and lower 30s Bristol Bay, Alaska Peninsula, upper 20s for the Pribilofs, and anywhere from 5 above to 5 below in the central interior here. Plus side of zero out to the west, well below zero. Eagle forecast low 23 below. Otherwise 5 to 10 below or 0 to 10 below for the Arctic coast. And the highs, upper 30s, Kodiak Island, mid-30s, Bristol Bay for Thursday afternoon, high temperatures. Mid to upper 20s here, south central Alaska, the lower 30s again, down toward the Kenai Peninsula, although mid-30s Seward, Homer area, mid-30s northern Panhandle, and lower 40s down to the south.